Now, I wanted to share this story because a couple of members who founded the Malibu Methodist Church are in it, Carrie Fee and Harriet Rogers. The title of this story is It Comes in a Jar. Enamored before I even knew the word. My first experience of love was my mom, her sound and scent. When I learned the word, I'd tell Dad, I love you. He'd always respond, I love you more. Love was abundant. I rooted in it. I had another mother too, Mother Earth. Her family's full of signs and wonders. My siblings, sand dunes rolling like waves across a wide open, showers cooling me, fireflies flickering on summer nights. If that isn't love, what is? Like all good mothers, Mother Earth fed me, think berries and beans. She inspired me, think waterfalls and rainbows. She schooled me too about love, think dawn. Her welcome brightens every morning. Think hydrogen and oxygen. They gave up their independence, joined forces, made a new thing, water, love in action. Now, scientists might describe that action as a particle or a wave. I know it's love, drawing us toward each other, creating new solutions, weaving us into communities and galaxies. Of course, you might not see it like that, but as my husband says, I'll see it when I believe it. I crouched down. I just moved the hose from the palm to the bird of paradise. I watched water sink into the earth. I watched earth absorb the water. I knew that's how I had to listen to my husband without impatience, without jumping to conclusions. I had to soak up every word. That's love. Now, I visit my neighbor, Carrie, most every day, Carrie Fee. She's 87. We share news and memories. We talk of family. It's wonderful to have family, she said, if you can all get along. That's the first test in life, I guess. Otherwise, it's perpetual war. Just so. Oh, I agree. Hug. I do, which tickles Rick. He tells me give Carrie 2 hugs. On my next visit, I do, which delights Carrie. I ask her, can you define love, Carrie? She pauses, then says it's deep caringness. At its best, it's almost impossible to destroy. Yet we hesitate to use the word. Maybe we're suspicious. Maybe we hate. There's a refrain in the musical South Pacific that tells me you got to be taught to hate. You have to be carefully taught. From the time when you're 6 or 7 or 8, you have to be perfectly taught. Now, the topic came up at lunch recently. A friend asked me, have you ever hated? I don't remember, I said, but she does. It was when her son and grandchildren were treated with such viciousness during a divorce. How to feel, I asked. It's painful, she said. It's destructive. It's obsessive. I kept going over and over things I wanted to say, but I never said a word. It's terrible. I've never gotten over it. Now, quantum physics proves we're all entangled. What one of us. So what's love got to do with it? I asked Debbie. She said, the moment I feel it, it's recognizable. There's an expansion. That's what love asks. that we care deeply enough to open ourselves, to let love run through us. It's hard to hate, hold a grudge. It's unnatural. It stops the momentum. It stops my growth. As Carrie says, not loving is insanity, a war we never win. Carrie talks about another face of love too, encouragement. That movement in the heart from me to you, to you, to you. Encouragement's absolutely necessary, she says, because that keeps the good going. So I ask Harriet Rogers about love. She says it is fulfillment. It heals, it thrives, it grows, but only if you pass it on or give it away. Love needs to circulate. Maybe that's why I keep on hosting storytelling concerts, because my cup is overflowing with stories I've heard. They needed to be passed on. Now, my husband uses the word sparingly. I'll tell him, I love you, dear. He'll say ditto. But then he reminds me, there are all kinds of ways to say I love you. Some of it comes in a jar. And there it is, my favorite latte, hot and ready for me, made by my husband. Rick and I show up for each other. We might sit outside of a morning under the to see what comes. One morning, Rick said, I've always worshiped light. Why, I asked. Because I could control it, he said. He told me what happened when he was 7 or 8. I'd wired a battery to a bulb. I went to sleep that night holding it to my chest. The next morning, Mom said she saw light going on and off under my covers. Every time I inhaled and exhaled, then broken. Well, I'm glad we made contact, Rick. What now? Well, he told me more about resistors. Resistors control the current coming into a system, as Rick says, to save you so you don't burn out your shit. Circumstances can be resistors, I said. They can slam a door in your face, force you to stand up together. That's some resistance training. It's all right, he said. What? Our marriage is way more than all right. It's a blessing. I was miffed. He looked at me. You have to slow it down, he said. Was I jumping to conclusions? I don't think so. I know what all right meant. Adequate. But all right, all right. I took another look. All right. Could be 2 words. All is incomplete and whole. Right, as in our hearts agree. All right. I got it, Rick. What now? Tolerance is one aspect of love, he said. Sometimes you have to tolerate difficult things, people's weaknesses, but love's stronger than those weaknesses. Love makes you stronger, not at the seams, in the whole. I imagine tolerance, mending a broken heart, hand stitching seams with patience and understanding, patching the heart together again in a new whole, wiser, stronger. During these days at home, I'm having more time to talk, to write letters, to order books for people. Is that love? I asked another friend in her 90s about love. Without hesitation, Esme replied, love is prayer. Now I know prayers call down blessings like moonlight on water. There's one taped to my bathroom mirror. My daughter wrote it. It says, in part, my mother's love were the ingredients I needed to begin life. And I still return to that love. It nurtures me. Love begins life. I've always been a fool for it. I spoke to Ellen on the phone. Ellen, our Malibu poet laureate. She died a few days later, but with what voice she had, she whispered, I know I'm in a very special place when I talk with you. And I know love makes that special place where we can blossom. Imagine that, all of us blossoming. This world's full of signs and wonders, water soaking into the earth, reminding me to listen, friends and neighbors encouraging me to keep the good going, a husband blessing me with 50 years of resistance training. From dawn to dawn, I ride in love's lifeboat, rescued from pitfalls of hatred and grudging. What's love have to do with it? Everything. And sometimes it comes in a jar. Go figure.